Hi, I'm Catherine Bazan with East Dallas Greater Good, and with me today is Councilwoman Paula Blackmon. Councilwoman Blackmon has graciously agreed to give us some time today to talk about all things East Dallas in 2021. Good afternoon, Councilwoman. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Before we jump into discussing the new year, I'd like to reflect for just a second on 2020. I know it's a year not any of us are going to forget, and everyone has been impacted in some way, whether it's residents or businesses. But we did see some wins for East Dallas, and I'm proud to have been able to work with you and your staff on accomplishing some of those. I wanted to ask, what are your most proud wins for 2020 for East Dallas?
Hi, Catherine, and thanks for having me. It is nice to come in and just chat and get to in exchange information and ideas. We had a big year, and not just with COVID, but with East Dallas wins. We got a White Rock dredge feasibility study completed. And so we know about how much money it's going to cost and what to do. And as we go into the next bond cycle, that will be on the top, as well as our legislative. I mean, we're down in Austin. We just started today, and I've been talking to legislators about funding for this important project. We defeated a batch plant in East Dallas, and a concrete batch plant, which at the time that PD was done, that was the country, and it made sense, and it doesn't now. And so it was the right thing to do. And I've talked to a lot of people in our urban design and said, we need to look at these old PDs and bring them to the forefront. We created a task force, an advisory group for the old fish hatchery to, institution that you were a part of, and many others, to institutionalize that part of White Rock Lake in the way that we manage it and the expectations of our property owners there. And I'm happy to say that we are moving forward. I just got an email from the Park Board rep, and Encore is working with Texas Discovery Gardens, and they are hammering out an MOU. And I said I wanted that in Q1, not in Q2. So we are trying to get that done sooner than later, because that is important to have expectations managed and met. We are working to provide public safety measures in all parts of the district. Easton Road was our first one. We're almost there. We put up some infrastructure needs, but we need some more striping and some more slowing down, the measures and the car measures, and that will come before us tomorrow, but so we can get that management contract done to get some striping done. And we are continuing to work with, collaborating with DPD on neighborhoods that have seen some, whether it be gunfire, fireworks, criminal activity, and then, it's usually layered with homelessness and code violations. So we're trying to create a lot of working groups where there's a lot of communications going on between all the departments and the neighbors. The neighborhoods want to be involved. And I think, Catherine, I was asked, how do you support DPD? The good answer is, how do we provide extra help to them? And what does that look like? I took the VIP training class. I recommend everybody doing that. It's got great information, even if you don't plan to go out and be a patrol unit. But when I'm walking my dog, I am taking cues, and I come in and I'm logging them in, and I'm like, we need to make sure this neighbor is okay and that neighbor. So we've done a lot of good for our quality of life for our residents and it's not just in D9. I've been working with my colleagues, that's just to the D14, D7, and D10, because we're East Dallas, and East Dallas is more than just a district number. And so it's been a privilege to be in this seat during this year. And I guess the most important one is we've survived it, right? We survived 2020. And so I look forward to seeing what 2021 brings, because it's going to be, while we are coming to hopefully a new phase and a new chapter, it's not going to be easy as well.
And let's talk about 2021 and the year ahead now. So we have a new police chief who's going to have to address some concerning numbers with our crime
Right,
statistics, particularly violent crime.
right.
We've got ongoing issues with street racing and public safety, traffic safety in our neighborhoods. I know that the city is also working with the county and the state to roll out the COVID-19 vaccine to our residents, and that the city is coordinating with them on that. Our city is also having some, just like nationwide, renewed calls for social and racial justice at every level of the government. And so we do have some challenges in the coming year. What do you think are the biggest challenges that East Dallas is facing in 2021?
So yes, your list is pretty detailed, and I think the thread that weaves them all together is our budget. I mean, how much money are we going to have or not have? And it is relied on opening businesses and getting our sales tax up. I'm not in favor of raising home property taxes. I feel that I have an economics background, and when people have money in their pocket, they're going to go spend it. They're going to create these economies and these small businesses. So I'm not inclined to just say just tax more. I'm inclined to say let's cut some spending where we can, where it doesn't make sense, and put it where it needs to go, and then see where we are. But you're right. Street racing is dangerous. It is it is not a, it's a quality of life issue. It wreaks havoc on our neighborhoods and our families, and it's usually an organized effort that's a meetup. And so it's not your neighbor coming in and deciding to do donuts in your intersection. And it's hard to combat. It really is. And so we are going to go to the state and ask for some help. And then we do have violent crime that's linked to drugs, and it's also linked to domestic violence, home violence within the home. They know each other, so we've got a lot. This pandemic has really shown some holes. I don't want to say holes. Some that there are issues within our fabric of our society, and it does. So going into the social justice and our lack of internet connection, and which means that they can't then become on their jobs. And so what we're seeing is a what we're seeing is a really alarming issue that has been percolating for years. It didn't just happen yesterday. And so what we are trying to do is try to turn this ship and try to fix some things. The problem is how much is it going to cost? Because a lot of it is infrastructure. It is more training with our if we want to do something with police. It is looking at how we hire police and who we hire and then train them. And then it's also just housing issues and job training issues. So it's a and everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's a big whole ball of yarn. But the thing is you just start you need to just start taking a piece of it and just start pulling it out and working it and working it. And it's going to take time, and people are going to need to be patient. But I do think that this council is apt and willing to do what is right for our city, because it's time. I mean, that's just the bottom line. It's time. And the budget cycle was tough. And and yes, there's we reduced it by $7 million in the overtime, but the whole DPD budget went up. But we have to learn to do more with less. And so that means retooling how we look at policing. And it is bringing some of those people that are sitting behind a desk and putting them out on patrol. And I just felt that was a necessary budget allocation that needed to be done. And I hope that people will understand it as we move through this year, of the purpose and reason why. And then next year, when we get into a bigger discussion, if we have the $60 million hole that we anticipate, we're going to have to make some really hard decisions. And I just hope that our council is willing to work together to make those decisions.
Agree, agree. And so you talked about budget, and so my next question is big projects that might be coming up. We have a new CCAP in Dallas and a new opportunity to talk about and look at zoning and land use with the Fort Dallas Comprehensive Land Use
Mhm.
Plan. What big projects or agenda items should we know about for the coming year?
So some of the big items are, of course, I've talked about the budget and it's in the whole, but I also think that how we look at land use on our major thoroughfares. I have a transportation working group, and we have the Garland Road, which is right, goes right by where we were going to, there was a batch plant going to be. That is an opportunity zone. So you look at north of Peavy on Garland Road, and you look at Ferguson Road, and you look at Skillman and Abrams over here, just on the backside of my house. And those are transportation nodes that are very important to East Dallas. How are they developed in a smart, thoughtful way? Where, Lockwood can go to a sit down restaurant or go to a coffee shop or grab a sandwich. Or, you know what? I don't want my house anymore. I want to have a mixed use something on Garland Road where I can then take a bus rapid transit into downtown to work. And I think I'm not saying those are happening, but I'm saying that is what we need to think of moving forward. And so with the comprehensive plan coming forth, that's what I want to put forth is these discussions, where you have a big CVS on the corner with a lot of parking. Why can't we figure out how to develop it in a different way that gives you the CVS and the parking, but maybe some more housing units or a little office space, so that way people that want to have a little office outside their house, they can have that. And let's just start having these discussions and see where it goes. I do believe that neighborhoods have self-determination, and if it's something that they are like no, then that's fine, we'll move to a different area. But I do think that that the discussion now is around transportation, the intersection of transportation and land use, and that's all over the city. And so that means, is it dark transit? Is it bus rapid transit? Is it bike trails? Is it our car? Is it walking pedestrian paths? What does that look like? And what is the land use around it? And I think as we get into all of these discussions with CCAP, because it is about, emissions, reducing emissions, and about waste, and about, being a better, having the better use of our environment. And we can't afford to clean up everything all the time. We're going to have to just be aware of what we're doing. And so I just feel that that is going to be an important discussion moving forward in our future.
Great, great. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you would like to discuss?
I've lived in East Dallas for over 25 years, raised my family here. I think it's the best part of Dallas. I've not known anything else. I mean, it's just a great place to reside, and it's a small town. It feels like a small town, and I appreciate anybody and everybody who emails me or calls me on, calls our office or tags on social media. I appreciate it, and just be nice, because my mom does read social media. And so I don't want her to get into a frenzy. But I do, I like these conversations that East Dallasites engage in. And it's refreshing to see people awake and alive and listening. I like having differing opinions. I think some people are afraid of that. I'm not. I welcome that, because I do believe understanding perspectives, not agreeing, but understanding,
Right.
brings about a more robust conversation, which should bring about a better policy. And I will respond. I do. I respond to my emails. And I just feel that if they've taken the time to reach out to me, then I should take the time to respond. And even if it's a thank you, you know what I mean? Because, there are some that just want to vent, and there are some that want an answer. And I try to do as much as I can to make sure that they feel that they've been heard.
I agree with that. I will say that in every instance that I've reached out to you with issues or concerns, or that we've brought these other concerns from the community to you or your staff, you've always I'm really pleasantly surprised, because you guys are so on it. You're so responsive. I always get an email back. It's really refreshing and nice to be able to reach out and to know that our local elected officials are hearing us and they're communicating, and they have that open door policy that we can always, reach out and let you know. And something's going to happen. It's going to be addressed and it's going to be done. And I just have to say that it's really
Well,
nice
thank you.
working with you and your staff.
I have a great pair of women working with me. They care about our community. We have a really good group.
Councilwoman Blackmon, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And for more information on important issues in East Dallas, join our Facebook group, East Dallas Greater Good, or visit us at eastdallasgreatergood.org and sign up for email updates. Thank you.
Thank you.